Hello world and welcome to this video all about Lit 2.0, the future of the web. My name is Kyle and let's get started. So what is Lit? So Lit 2.0 just got released pretty recently and it comes from Polymer. So if you haven't been following, there's been the Polymer project, which has basically been how web components have come to exist. They evolved, their next generation was Lit Element, and now Lit Element is now Lit 2.0. So it is, like I said earlier, it's web components, which is built into the browser, but there's an API layer on top of it, which is Lit. And that allows some common practices and patterns that we're used to with some other frameworks. And it makes it web components much easier and better to use. So why would you use it? Well, it can be used anywhere that HTML is rendered on modern browsers. So Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, and even Internet Explorer 11. There's a polyfill you can use to have web components supported on that. It's very fast and very lightweight because the majority of what it's doing is web components, which is built in natively to the browser. The actual API layer on top is very small and very lightweight, much smaller than React library is, or Angular, or any other library that has to load in the browser. It can be used within frameworks like React, Angular, Svelte, Vue, whatever, because essentially all you're doing is creating a custom HTML tag, and that's your component. And so you can actually use it within other frameworks, and it can be very easy you can build it once and build a component once and have it be used in several different libraries or frameworks. So that's really nice. It's very flexible. It's built and maintained by Google, so take that as you will. Google does have a lot of projects that end up not going very far. But this one, I would say, is going to be here for a while. They've had the Polymer project for a long time. A lot of their high traffic domains are using it. Like if you look at YouTube, this video right now, and you inspect the page, you'll see a lot of custom HTML elements in the DOM, and it's using Polymer to do that. And I imagine it would be, updating on modern browsers to use Lit in the near future. But Google's not the only one that's using it. There's a lot of high traffic websites using it, including Adobe, Reddit, IBM, and there's a lot more that are starting to use it just because of the performance that it gives and the flexibility that it has. So how do you use Lit? It's very similar to React class syntax. You have lifecycle methods, you have properties, which are similar to React state, and you have attributes, which are similar to React props, and they can be mixed back and forth. So you can have an attribute come into an element and become a property. We'll go into that in more detail later on. There's built-in TypeScript support and decorator support, and TypeScript is a first-class citizen for Lit. A lot of the documentation, the default is the TypeScript version, and they're really pushing for it because it's a lot cleaner and it just looks better. You can have your classes be a lot smaller. I personally prefer the TypeScript version because I think it's a lot cleaner, and you can do a lot of shortcuts and stuff, especially with the decorator support. But you can use just plain JavaScript if you want. They have built-in scope styles to your classes, so you don't need to use CSS modules. You don't need to use any CSS preprocessor. You don't need to use less or stylus or Sass. You certainly can. I've used less before and it works just fine if you want to get like nested styling and things like that. But everything is scoped to each component. So just for an example, let's say you write a button class element, and you can style that button to only have styles for what's in that class. And we'll get to this in a second when I show you a demo of this. But the scope style, it comes with web components, which is really nice. It also uses the shadow DOM very effectively automatically. So web components are known for using the shadow DOM, but you have to kind of turn it on and you have to configure it. With Lit, you don't need to configure. Everything is just kind of handled for you. It does everything very effectively, and basically anything that happens within your component stays within your component. It's because it has its own shadow DOM within itself. So it's really good for containment. You can create something, create a component, have it be used anywhere else, and you know it's not going to cause any side effects outside of that component. If you do want to communicate, between different lit elements, then you can use browser DOM events. You can add an event listener to a class, you can dispatch events from a class, and you can listen and communicate that way. So let's go into their documentation. This is where a lot of the videos are going to basically stem from, is this documentation, which is actually quite good. So it kind of gives you just everything you need to know about getting started and how it works. And so you can see right here, this is the TypeScript version, this is the JavaScript version. This compiles down the TypeScript. You need a TypeScript compiler, and it will compile this decorator custom element into custom elements.define. And this is a modern browser API right here. This allows you to use the simple greeting HTML. So let's get into the playground, and we'll see what that is like. So this is TypeScript. You also have the JavaScript version, which this TypeScript is essentially getting compiled into this JavaScript version. So if you want to see how that works, you can kind of tell there. And so what we're having here is you just have a class, and you're extending lit element, which is an import from lit. And then you have this styles, and this styles uses the CSS import from lit. And this everything, all paragraph tags within the render method are going to have the color of blue. And so you can see just hello paragraph tag, and then this dot name. Name is a property, and the default value of it is somebody. But you're seeing it hello world. So why is it doing that? Because in the index file, we're first importing that script from the compiled version, and then we're saying name is world. So name here is an attribute that gets converted into a property, and that's why the name is world. So if you got rid of this value, you would just see hello somebody. And just to show you how the scoping works, any paragraph tag after this element does not get the blue color, but all paragraphs within does. So that's the very bare minimum of how lit works. It's very fast, and it's very lightweight. And I just want to show one more thing. If you inspect the page and look, you can see simple greeting, the actual HTML tag is there. And that's because of the custom element definition here. And within it, you have a shadow root, which is that shadow DOM I was talking about. And that's why this paragraph tag, the color is blue. And so that's how this works. And we're going to go into this in much detail and a lot of things you can do with it later on. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.